Good evening and welcome back to C4 Operations Facebook Live. I think I call that something different every week, but you get the point. We're glad you're here. Tonight we are going to talk about our 7-year address review again. We're actually going to call this one 7-year address review 2.0 because there's a little bit there that we didn't get a chance to cover last week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go over our board here on what an address review would look like, or what our researchers see when they're doing an address review, and talk about things like alias names and address history and stuff like that. So when we talked about our 7-year address review last week, we talked about us being able to do that for you, to where you don't have to put in all 7 years of their addresses or acquire that information from the applicant, because sometimes they give you all the information and maybe sometimes they don't, or maybe they forget it or don't know it or whatever. And so we can do that for you, and this is how we do that. So this looks a lot like our Social Security address report that we would pull, and we're going to pretend that you're doing a background check on Jonathan Frank Doe. And we're also going to talk about his alias names, because in our Social Security report, it's going to tie that name to his Social Security number and give us any name that has come up with that name and that Social Security number tied together. Okay? So we're just going to pretend in this particular situation it's John and Johnny. Well, what's the importance of that? Why do these alias names? Well, the importance is because if his records are under Jonathan and you put in a Jonathan in the search title, okay, and we go looking for criminal records under John or Jonathan, okay, if we did it under Jonathan, in a county criminal situation, John would not come up. Johnny would not come up. Only Jonathan would come up. All right. So what we have done is we have this tool that is our National Criminal Database with alias. So what that tool does is that kind of helps us go the next step for you, if you will. And what we do is we take the name with the Social Security number, and then what it does is it takes all of that information, any name tied to that social, and runs it automatically through that National Crim database. And if we're lucky and those records are records that report to that National Crim database, it's going to come up under there. And so we're going to see that. So that's the value of doing the alias name with the National Crim database. But it's not that way with the county criminal searches. With the county criminal searches, we have to put in each individual name. So there is definitely a difference as far as the National Criminal Database on this. But then if you go to the county criminal, you're going to see just Jonathan or just John or just Johnny, but you have to put them in as separate searches. All right? Now let's talk about address history, okay? On the 7-year address history, what addresses are going to come up for Jonathan Frank Doe, okay? We're going to see some different aliases down here, all right? These aliases right here, and again, because this is all part of that National Crim database, our Social Security report as well, it's all going to be right here together in that report. So we're going to see Jonathan Frank Doe, John Doe, and Johnny Doe. Jonathan, Johnny, and John, all right? These are the addresses: 1234 Main Street in Lynn County, 6789 2nd Street in Benton County, 1234 Main Street in Lynn County again, so these two are the same, we're going to see that, and then 5589 First Avenue in Johnson County, all right? So all of these addresses came up for these people right here, all right? Now, we're going to see, okay, in the last 3 years, for about the last 3 years, he's lived at this 1234 Main Street. So would that be included in our 7-year address review? Yes, it would, because it's within the last 3 years, and we're talking 7 years. So we would take this address here, and we would search Lynn County if we're not already searching that in your package. Okay? Let's go to Benton County. Jonathan Doe, 6789 2nd Street, Benton County. Now that one is 6 of 2001 to 1 of 2010. Well, we're now in 2018, and so if you take 2010 from 2018, that's 8 years, so this one does not fall within the 7-year search. So in a 7-year address review, we would not search Benton County unless you ask us for a lifetime address review or a 10-year address review. Then we could do that. And again, because we have clients all over the country, wherever you may be listening from, if you remember and go back to our talk about county searches and things like that a few months ago, you will see and you'll remember that this part here, okay, is only going to be done if we had a 10-year or a lifetime search, depending on what state you are in. That's the key, all right? In many states, we can do more than 7 years, but in some states, we can't do more than 7 years. So we told you then, and we'll tell you again, give us a call. We'll talk through your particular situation, whatever state you might be in. We'll let you know if you're known as a 7-year state or not, and we can't go beyond 7 years. But in most states, you can do that. 7 years just happens to be the industry standard, and that's why we kind of start there for an address review, all right? So really there's 4 options here on this page to see these different addresses. We could go with just the current county, all right, like we talked about last week. Just the current county would show you this Lynn County address right here, all right? And we would search just the current county for Lynn County, and that's all. A 7-year address review would include this one, top one here, this middle one here, because this is 2015 to 2018, and even this last one here that shows 2001 to 2016. The last date is the date we're looking for, and if that date is within 7 years of today's date, then we would search that particular address or that county in a 7-year address review. Now, we see 2 different addresses here in the same county, so obviously you're only going to get one charge though, because it's one county, all right? But in this particular situation, if we were searching a 10-year address review or a lifetime address review, then we would search all 4 of these, well really 3 because these 2 are Lynn, so we would search Lynn, Benton, and Johnson County for a 10-year address review. For the 7-year address review, we would only search Lynn and Johnson. And so that would be your 7-year address review on Jonathan Frank Doe. Now, the different names over here do matter because this one here, say that we were doing a 10-year review on this person, okay, we would actually do Jonathan and Jonathan here in Lynn and Benton, but then also even in a 7-year review, okay, we would do both Jonathan and Johnny Doe. And like we said, in the county criminal, we would have to do both those names. So you would do Jonathan Doe in Lynn County, and you would do Johnny Doe in Lynn County, because the exact name match is what we're looking for. Only the exact name matches will come up in a county criminal search. So we have to make sure that we've got the name matches exact. That's why the importance of the alias name. So they may go under 2 or 3 different names. If they go under 2 or 3 different names, then we have to search each of those names in that particular county, whatever county that we're looking for. Because if you don't search those different names in that county, you're only going to get what exact name match you come up with. All right? So 7-year address review 2.0, alias names, very, very important. Many people don't do them because it does cost more for every one of those counties. But if you're looking for the most due diligence search, that is what you can do, is the different alias names with your 7-year address review, going back in those addresses 7 years for the different alias names, and you would catch those different crimes in all of those counties that we would search in 7 years. Alrighty? As always, if you have any questions, we're here 24/7. Give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to talk you through this for your particular situation or your particular jurisdiction, your state, your county, etc. And maybe even the vertical that you work in or the industry that you work in, that might change too, because like we've talked about before, in the state of Indiana for home health care, they have to do lifetime searches, not 7 years, not 10 years, but they have to do lifetime searches. So that could matter too, depending on what company or industry you're in. All right, so give us a call. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later.